Hi guys, Mookduke here, and this week Renown has officially launched into early access. Now, I've been following development of this game for years now, and honestly, I was initially hyped. A survival game like Rust but with real-time melee combat? On paper, that's my dream game. But here's the thing. I played the original playtest, the pre-alpha stress test, and now this early access release, and while the player count has definitely improved from a dead 10-man lobby to a peak of around 2,500 on launch day, the game itself feels like it has barely changed. In this video, I'm going to walk you through both my pre-alpha experience from just 2 weeks ago, interspersed with early access stuff I got this week, because honestly, there isn't much difference between the two. When you first hear about Renown, it sounds incredible. Rust-like zergs of medieval knights clashing across open fields, cavalry charges, castles under siege. You get excited at just the images in your head. But booting into the game, the reality is very different.
Oh, it's back. Wow, that's running poorly.
Wide barren spaces, glitchy castles, janky menus, and combat that makes you dizzy for all the wrong reasons.
It's just no input.
That being said, I do want to be fair. Performance has been pretty smooth overall with minimal frame drops, and the tech tree is much clearer than before. There are signs of progress, even if the core issues remain. Let me show you what I mean. Back in the stress test, despite their Discord giving out over 500 keys that weekend, I remember loading into the only EU server and seeing maybe 10 people online. That was rough, as it felt like there was nothing to do and barely anyone to interact with. At least on launch week, early access has managed to add some bodies, so I thankfully did run into more people this time. But here lies my first problem. Having players doesn't fix the fundamentals. If anything, it makes the cracks more obvious. Because if you're solo and running into backers who already know the game inside and out, you're basically dead on arrival. That being said, I tried to go into the stress test and early access with an open mind. Spawning in felt like deja vu. Punch a tree, smack some rocks, try to get some tools crafted, and immediately the UI reminds you the game isn't ready. The inventory is clunky, crafting takes forever, especially for just making a building hammer.
10-second crafting time, let's go.
And building is trapped behind a radial menu which seems explicitly designed to test your patience more than your creativity.
Oh my God, this build menu thing is so many buttons to make one thing.
Even just swapping the inventory windows when looting would make it much more convenient. The world itself still feels empty despite some POIs. Sure, I'll admit there are some stretches of terrain where I could imagine something cool, like entire clans running through these rocks on horseback in one giant cavalry charge. And to be fair, if that ever happens, it will be amazing. But right now, it's just empty fields and abandoned houses. As I was running solo, I skipped building and decided to roam around the world to see if I could find any actual backers and hear their thoughts. These two guys took me under their wing, showed me where to get some loot, while also informing me that you can no longer find armor around the map.
Used to do armor.
In my opinion, that's not so great for new players joining, especially if the first people you run into are armored, like this guy. But after a while, my two new friends decided to have a little sparring match, which went about as well as you'd expect for the unarmored guy.
Yeah, good fight, guys. Good fight, lads.
Ouch.
But Hi, being a nice guy, helped him back up so they could continue to loot. At this point, I still hadn't tested if the combat had improved, so I also challenged Hi to a duel, hoping that my previous janky Renown skills would allow me to beat him with just a simple stick. Spoiler alert, I got bodied so hard that he couldn't even help me back up, leaving me to respawn back in the middle of nowhere. Feeling the need for instant gear, I decided to make my way to the castle that opens every so often for a chance to get some good loot and fighting opportunities.
Okay, let's see if what happened last time happens to me again.
Sounds like an adventure, until I'm getting hit through the portcullis by NPCs I can't hit back, and later immediately killed due to the disarm mechanic by a naked guy wielding a messer.
Broke again. That is so janky when the stick breaks.
Skill issue, I guess. But I wasn't finished. I came back, and not being able to get through the doors, I did find a hatch leading down into the basement. Finally, some progress. I grabbed a longsword, started sneaking around, and for a moment, I thought things would be different. Then, it happened. If you saw my last Renown video, you know what's coming. I got stuck.
Renown has done it again. This castle will actually be the death of me, man. I'm stuck in a crevice.
So here I am, wedged in there like a medieval IKEA display, when another player shows up and tries to kill me.
Oh, great. Wait, bro, I'm stuck in the floor. Come on, I've got nothing you want.
I somehow managed to wriggle free. I call for Hi's help, who I met earlier, but he just leaves me behind.
Yo, is that Hi? Yo, Hi, come help me, man.
Yeah, where are you? Bro, I'm absolutely stacked. I'm just getting.
Classic. Still, I pressed on, managed to kill the other player, grabbed his loot, and felt like maybe my luck had finally turned around. But of course, karma is a cruel mistress. And not long after looting, an NPC guard strolled up and instantly flattened me, going back to his patrol acting like nothing had happened. Side note, this part happened during the stress test 2 weeks ago, but I ventured back into the castle in early access, and guess what happened? It's safe to assume this is my most recent clip because I rage quit in disbelief that I had been stuck for a 3rd time. I'm definitely cursed, and the only way to break it is to press the subscribe button, so when I inevitably get stuck for a 4th time, you'll be the first one to see it. At this point, I decided to try out the base building, gather some materials, throw something together, and test the survival side of the game. This is also when a friend showed up to creepily watch my building prowess.
Actually really does look like Stouty, doesn't it?
I feel like I've been too negative so far, and I really want to find the positives, but the building is still so clunky.
This is still exactly the same. This stuff feels bad.
The radial menu controls are so unintuitive and slow that after a few minutes we hung up our tools to go frolicking through flowers, knocking on random doors that nobody answered, and eventually headed back to the safe zone to mess around. I should note, in the early access build, it doesn't seem like you can spawn in the safe zone as you could in the alpha, but you still need to wait 30 seconds before respawning. But whatever you do, make sure you don't click the button again, as it will reset the timer. What? We picked up some training swords and decided to test the combat properly. The animations felt the same as the initial playtest. Half the time the swings looked like they connected but didn't register, and after a few rounds of us both inputting, we stopped. But while we're on the subject, let's talk briefly about the combat. If you want to see my first real fight, I'll let this clip speak for itself.
Honestly, the inputs feel so slow that any attack I input isn't working. Oh my god, can I get a riposte, please? Oh come on, the morphs are so f***ing slow! Dead.
Now, it did feel slightly better in early access, especially on dual servers with actual armor. But even still, there's no physical feedback like we're used to in the Mordhau games. The combat feels floatier than Chiv 2.
It's like I'm not even doing anything.
With weird input lockouts, filled with running strats and dizzying drags. The weird part is that morphs aren't even that hard to read, but the clash conditions and hit reg leave much to be desired in a fair fight. I'm not saying fights aren't fun, because they still have a bit of the technical aspect we love about these games. And in a survival situation with VoIP, you really do get that tense rust feeling that everything is on the line.
Alright, Tim, any last words? Again, man, you're so violent, bro. Stop falling for it. You crazy, Tim, you crazy.
Obviously, this is just my opinion, but through all the combat jank, I think the most egregious system is when you are disarmed. It's absolutely busted. Instead of your weapon getting knocked out of your hand, the game bizarrely plays the animation of you sheathing your weapon and pulling out another one. Even if they don't want to make a disarm animation, why can't they at least make the weapon disappear from your inventory instead of playing something completely unrelated? It's very jarring. I'd rather the weapon just vanish. In general, I actually think if the combat was just slightly smoother with less input delay and you could really feel the weight of the hits, the game would already be 10 times better. Other than players, there are also various NPCs that pose a threat. However, it does seem like there are less than in the initial playtest. Their AI is definitely jankable, as I almost killed this Blue Knight with my fists.
Okay,
if anything, I actually think the NPCs are a pretty good challenge overall. Then, there were a couple of bugs. At one point, Cardi started typing in the chat, and it looked like she was having a stroke.
Big shuck.
Turns out, if your keyboard isn't set to the right language layout, the game just spits out gibberish. Although, maybe their brain was just broken, as when I asked them for help with exploit testing, they decided to punch a chicken to death. Priorities, I guess.
It made no sound.
We decided to clock off before the peasants caught us and finally saw the rare sighting of another player.
Come on, VX. He come on, VX.
But as there were 2 of us and 1 of him, Nomad didn't stand a chance.
Poor Nomad.
After some ceremonial teabagging, my partner in crime turned on me, reinforcing the fact that in Renown, trust no one. Not even your chicken punching friends. At that point, both of us realized we were done, and there just wasn't anything else to do. So here's the reality. Renown hit early access, not because it's ready, but because the dev team had to put something on Steam to survive. I get it. Game development isn't cheap, and the team is very small, so even being able to put something out there, especially in this niche of a genre, is commendable. That being said, I still feel like dropping a build that feels this raw is a huge gamble. As of this video, reviews are already mixed, and the community feels split. Some players see potential, others see a walking corpse. Personally, despite being mostly negative in my thoughts this time round, I still want to hope. The idea is still awesome, but without major improvements, I can do nothing more than wish them the best of luck.
And he fell through the floor.
Renown currently has the skeleton of a great game, but right now it's all bones and no flesh. The mechanics are there, but it needs more time in the oven, mainly to fix the clunky UI,
Is this his pockets?
floaty combat, and the world feeling empty even with 70 players online. I didn't personally have connection issues, but other people reported them as well.
But you can...
I'll give some positives. I found that overall the game ran very smoothly with minimal frame rate drops, and meeting other players over VoIP is genuinely fun. Those tense or funny interactions are the best part of this genre and feels just like classic Rust. Like when I bumped into these two Chiv players, we all whipped out weapons at the same time and I went full degen on them.
Oh, target switch. Huge target switch. This is Mordhau v Chiv. This is for all of the marbles here. Man, I'm cooking him. I'm just ignoring the spear player. Mookduke, Twitch TV. I'm actually being such a mug right now, I'm sorry.
I think that's why it's so frustrating, because when it works, you get these rare golden moments that remind you why we wanted to play in the first place.
GG's, good fights. Mordhau wins.
Best case scenario, that's where I think this game will inevitably shine, as long as the devs somehow pull it together, updates roll out, and we finally get to experience those moments often.
Should we murder Tomb in cold blood? Yo, Tomb, I was joking, man.
Worst case, the animation jank and sweaty player base drives away anyone new, a problem which isn't uncommon in the genre, and the bugs never get fixed, and the game quietly fades away. But in conclusion, I want this to succeed, so I'll keep following, but I just can't recommend buying it right now unless you really want to support the devs or this genre. Who knows? Maybe one day we'll both see each other stuck in that cursed castle. Please bring snacks. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it and are interested in more Melee content, please consider dropping a like and hitting that subscribe button, as it really helps as a small creator. I'm sure I'll be posting some more Renown content as the game improves. Until then, take care and keep mooking them dukes.
Mookduke.